I'm expecting it to be an open session where I get to learn a lot and I get to understand how people have gone through problems and how they've also solved those problems.
He is the CEO, Arial View Nigeria Limited. He's a marketing and digital genius as far as I'm concerned, an astute businessman, and very importantly to me, he's a Manchester United fan with a religious bias for Fergie. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Yombo Pitan.
They are celebrity fuck-ups. Nobody knows me. So their story will be the one trending on social media. I'll just go home quietly and live the rest of my life. So they are the real fuck-ups. Me, I'm just a minor fuck-up. So who am I? My name is Yombo Pitan. Married, father of 2. My daughter turned 8 months yesterday. I'm a lawyer. Then I found out I was a disaster at being a lawyer because I started having nightmares of those thick books chasing me in my sleep. And I knew I couldn't go on with it. So I moved to marketing, and I've been doing marketing now for over a decade. And I always tell people, since I started doing marketing, I've not worked a day in my life. Because every single day I go to work, it's like I'm just having fun. So that's who I am. Okay, what was the initial idea of project? The initial idea of project was that because I had work experience, I'd worked in a couple of telcos, so I'd gained some experience in marketing strategy. So I started a company, and we had 4 main functions. We were doing marketing consultancy and as an agency. We were doing mega promos, so think of all this, win an aeroplane, we'll come up with strategy, concept, execute. We were doing digital marketing, and we were doing value-added services. Value-added services is something you do with the telcos. Essentially, you get a license from NCC, and then you can go and work with the telcos. So when you think of value-added services, vast. Think of all these services you can do from your phone. Like you can borrow credit, you can subscribe to get some content every day, all those sorts of things. So that was value-added services. So we had those 4. The company was set up to ensure that there are 4 streams of income from those 4 different businesses. And to be quite honest, it went very well. In the first couple of years, we actually really did some good work in terms of all the different aspects of the business. But at some point in time, value-added services became a beast. And value-added services is one of those things that most people don't look at. But for the telcos, honestly, at some point in time, it was giving them 30–40 billion naira per month. Apart from you are buying airtime. So that area of telco was actually generating 30–40 billion. I know people that their companies were making 500 million, 1 billion per month. Just for, you want to watch Davido's latest video, you subscribe and we take your 50 naira every week, we take your 100 naira every week. It was a really profitable and good line of business. And yeah, so what happened was that, what went wrong? That was me when the hour gassed. I was so confused. My eyes just opened like that, and I aged. That was me. You see, the first slide had this vision of somebody looking out at the world. All of a sudden, I was in the desert. Yeah? And what went wrong was that, as a company, we totally moved on from all the other sources of income. Because those sources of income were difficult. You had to go and meet a client, talk to him, start to do his digital media. Then you tell you, I only have 2,000 followers. Why, are you crazy? Are you mad? But with Vance, it was just easy. Just sign up a partner. We had global partners like Gold.com, etc. Sign them up, go and meet the telcos and start making money. And all you're doing is you're marketing this thing to people online, etc. And they are sitting down. And we did really well, because at some point we became a top 10 revenue generating company to the major telco in Nigeria. So there was just no point looking at the other things. And it was really successful until people started getting greedy, right? People started doing all sorts of unethical things and, you know, just really, really messing around with subscribers, putting people in for services they didn't subscribe for. I'm sure some of you have experienced that. Yes. Every time I go and see my mom, she tells me how people are taking money from her SIM card and she didn't survive. In fact, one day I checked and I saw romantic tips. I said, Mommy, what's this about? I was like, what's going on? What's all this romantic tip subscription? So yeah, people got greedy and the regulators stepped in. And you know Nigerian regulators, I'm not sure it's regulation or destruction. They just totally switched off the tap. They had a fair chance, as in, okay, people had gotten greedy, all sorts of sharp practices, people were being defrauded of their money. I still didn't think it was good enough to turn off the tap. Because, like I said to them, if you look at the example of America, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, is accused of having brought in the current government by virtue of all the things that went on Facebook. Facebook hasn't been suspended. Facebook hasn't been taken down for 1 day. And the real reason why Facebook hasn't been taken down for 1 day is because there's an impact of Facebook on the economy, right? When the regulators shut down the whole vast business, I know a company, they had 35 staff. That same week that they shut down, 34 of the staff got termination letters. And we've lost thousands of jobs in that industry. And we've also lost, because most of the work in that industry is content, which again, target markets, younger guys, those are the guys generating the content. We've lost a lot of innovation in that industry as well. So we've lost talent. Impact of what went wrong. Well, if you are making good money and then for like 6 months you don't get a credit alert, the first thing that goes wrong is that you have a financial problem. Because all of a sudden you have gone from making money, in fact you have blown, and then you have burst. It's like a balloon. They blew you up. They blew you up at some point, and then they just put a pin inside you, and then. So in fact, it was so bad that I used to go to, when I want to withdraw money from the ATM, I would go around 1 a.m. thinking the bank would be asleep, or I would withdraw the 50,000, and then, you know, Nigerian banks don't forgive or forget. Yeah. You get that debit alert. And I'm thinking, I used to, you know, I don't have money now. Just let me withdraw this 20K or something, but they'll take their money. So the real impact of what happened, for me, the first thing was a financial impact, because as a company, we essentially lost, because we hadn't looked at the other lines of business that we had, we essentially lost our #1 earner. So all of a sudden, we went from making money to making absolutely nothing, and this persisted for months. The second impact of what happened was that it had an impact because I had a team. And I could see it because they all knew everybody had lost their jobs in the industry. Everybody had lost their jobs. So I could see that and I have a young team, so I could see that there was genuine fear and concern about their job security and all of that. So that also had an impact on me. And the third thing it did to me was it had a health impact. It had a health impact. When I have problems, I tend to think a lot. So when I have a problem, a real problem, the first thing that happens is that I get mentally burdened. After I get mentally burdened, on a normal day, I'm an insomniac, so I don't sleep till 2 or 3 a.m. But when I now have a problem, I stop sleeping altogether. So sometimes I'll go 3 days without sleep. Lie down on my bed, get up the next day, I haven't closed my eyes once. And it would go like 3 days, 4 days. And also, unfortunately for me, my genotype is SC, which means I have some sickling in my blood, right? So what happens is that when I'm stressed like that, I fall ill. And it's not illness of malaria or anything like that. It's like you have a crisis, you're in pain. In fact, some people die from that kind of illness. So it was a lot of stress on me. And financially, emotionally, mentally, there was a lot of stress on me. So that was the impact of what went wrong. What could I have done differently? That's a bear. The bear nose is standing on ice. The ice could break. I should have known all along that with VAS, the ice was going to break at some point in time because there were all sorts of, people were getting greedy. Too many things were going wrong. The regulators were beginning to really tighten up. And to be honest, they did some good work. And yeah, so at some point in time, I should have known that the balloon was going to burst. So we should have diversified. And yes, because we had the competence and skill set in-house to do other things, we were not just a vast company. We should have diversified, and we should have built muscle in the other lines of business, our digital marketing, our marketing consultancy, our mega promos. We could have built muscle in those areas and try to go out and chase clients and close deals. What did I learn? I was smoking stuff stronger than what that guy was smoking. In fact, he's a learner compared to me at that point in time. What did I learn? I learned a few things. I learned that you should kind of like, when the whole problem started, the first thing I did, when I have a problem, the first thing I do is I have a pity party. I feel sorry for myself for like 2 days. I'll just be at home. I'll just immerse myself in it that, okay, I have this problem. 2 days, feel sorry for myself, have ice cream for breakfast, anything I want to do, I just let it go. And then one day I always tell myself, okay, dude, done, dusted, let's go. And that always works for me. So one of the things I learned is that I can back myself at any point in time, in that it's just a setback. Once I deal with it, that it's a setback, and it hasn't cost me my life, then I'm ready to get back on the horse. The other thing I learned was that you must be able to back yourself. What do I mean by back yourself? When the thing first happened, I had such issues. I was so mentally tormented that honestly, I went to see a neurologist. I have this health plan, and I wanted to see a psychiatrist because I thought I was going mad. Then they told me to see the psychiatrist, who was something like 100K. I said, no, I'm not mad yet. So I asked which one of them is free. They said the neurologist is free. So I said, Chebi is all mental and my head is not correct. Okay, so I'll see the neurologist. I saw the neurologist and I told her, she said, what's my biggest problem? At this point, I hadn't slept for like 4 or 5 days. She said, what's my biggest problem? I explained the whole situation to her. She said, what's your biggest problem in all of this? And I said, my staff. And she said, fire them. I said, just like that. She said, yes, fire them. Just call them, go to the office today and fire them. And honestly, everybody I spoke to said the same thing. Because they said, look, if you don't fire them now, at some point you are going to fire them. And it's better to fire them now. If you have X amount in your account, it means you don't have to use it to pay salary. Just fire all of them, let them go home. And I really struggled with that, so I couldn't do that. I really just couldn't do that, because I have people that work with me, and for me, that's kind of like a trust, right? You kind of like, those people come to you, they do what you tell them to do, and they kind of like, it's like a contract. You are supposed to kind of have their backs, right? So I couldn't fire them. And I kind of like learned to back myself on that so as not to fire them. And we had a conversation. I had a conversation with my team, and we all agreed that, okay, this was the situation, we were going to get through it. And to be honest, we didn't fire anybody, and we always paid salaries, which was a big issue, but we somehow managed to get through. What else did I learn? Sorry, one step back. What else did I learn? Yeah, I learned that you should diversify. When times are good, diversify. And I also learned one thing. I'd been told this lesson, but I hadn't learned it. I did a course at the Lagos Business School, and we were fortunate enough to meet Dangote. Our class went to meet him because it was a class of entrepreneurs. And he told us something that was like a secret of his. He said, wherever he operates, or wherever you operate as a business person, you should be able to influence policy. Dangote now is going to be the first person to build a refinery in Nigeria. When they want to write a policy about maintaining refineries or refineries in Nigeria by private individuals. In fact, we'll be the one to write that policy and give it to government. Yeah. So I learned that he had mentioned that to us like 3 or 4 years ago, but I didn't put it into practice. So now, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be very close to government and I'm going to try and influence policy, because if not, it means that at any point in time, your business can be eliminated overnight by somebody sitting down in a secretariat or in a ministry and they are gone. So what's next? Do you know what those are? Those are chicks of eagles. At that point, at that stage, they look like rubbish, they look like whatever. An eagle is an apex predator. It's one of the few predators, if not the only predator, that hunts on land, sea, and in the air, right? An eagle flies to heights that nobody else can get to. An eagle is like the top of the list. And that's what we have decided to move on to. So now we have re-strategized. And one of the things I also learned was that you shouldn't just make money. You should have social impact, right? If you are just making money like we're doing in VAS, the day it stopped, nobody cared because we weren't impacting on lives. So now we're doing a couple of things, and those things are targeted at youths, especially in Lagos State. And the second group of people we are targeting with what we are doing is servicemen of the Nigerian Armed Forces, as well as survivors of late servicemen who were killed in action. We intend to do a lot with the youths, job creation, giving them platforms to become better people, to be able to make money. And we also want to create a lot of awareness and respect for the Nigerian Armed Forces, because kind of like how you go abroad and everywhere you go, if a military man comes there, they serve him first, they do whatever it is. And I think we have to do a lot for those guys, as well as their widows and children we leave behind. So now anything and everything we're doing is going to have to do with social impact. So in a nutshell, our next steps to become more involved in the society, to impact the society, and to become apex predators. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, let's just take one.
No questions. No questions.
Calm down. Do we have any questions?
No, none.
Okay, that's fine. You talked about your learning experience coming into this. So did you get that learning experience you wanted?
I actually did. I learned quite a lot from the co-speakers, Chioma and Banke. I think they shared quite a bit, and they opened themselves up, so they were vulnerable. And I could pick up certain things from what they have done, and I'll try to avoid those mistakes based on the lessons they shared. When you lose money, it goes right to the heart, especially for we guys that, you know, we have to kind of like be breadwinners, especially in this whole African environment. So the instant you start losing money, most people can connect. Once you talk about money, loss of money and loss of income, most people can connect. So yes, I did see that the audience kind of felt it, that they kind of got it, and they kind of, I could see a lot of people kind of putting themselves in my shoes at that point in time.